Why didn't Hitler use chemical weapons on the battlefield during World War II? It's one of the most disturbing paradoxes in modern history. A regime responsible for unimaginable atrocities, choosing restraint in one of the most devastating forms of warfare ever created. At a time when Germany was losing, when desperation was rising, why didn't they unleash chemical weapons against Allied forces? To understand this, we need to go back to World War I. Chemical warfare was not just a weapon. It was a nightmare. Poison gas like chlorine and mustard gas turned entire battlefields into suffocating death traps. Soldiers died slowly, blindly, in agony. Among those soldiers was a young Adolf Hitler. In 1918, Hitler was exposed to mustard gas during a British attack. He was temporarily blinded, hospitalized, and deeply traumatized. Some historians believe this moment left a lasting psychological scar. Years later, as the leader of Nazi Germany, that memory may have influenced his decisions more than we realize. But trauma alone doesn't explain everything. By the time World War II began, Germany actually had some of the most advanced chemical weapons in the world. They had developed deadly nerve agents like tabun and sarin, far more lethal than anything used in World War I. These weapons could have changed the course of entire battles, or even the war itself. So why weren't they used? The answer lies in fear, but not the kind you might expect. Germany knew something critical. The Allies also had chemical weapons. Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union all had stockpiles. And if Germany used chemical weapons first, retaliation would be immediate and overwhelming. Unlike World War I, where both sides escalated slowly, World War II could have turned into total chemical annihilation almost instantly. German military leadership understood this risk. The Wehrmacht knew that using chemical weapons wouldn't guarantee victory. It might guarantee destruction. There was also a strategic problem. Chemical weapons are unpredictable. Wind direction, weather, terrain, all of it affects how gas spreads. A single miscalculation could send deadly gas back toward German troops. This made chemical warfare extremely dangerous, not just for the enemy, but for the user. And then there's another dark contradiction. While chemical weapons weren't widely used on the battlefield, Nazi Germany did use gas in a different way. In concentration camps, millions were murdered using gas chambers. Zyklon B became a tool of systematic extermination, not warfare. This reveals something chilling. The decision not to use chemical weapons in battle wasn't about morality. It wasn't about humanity. It was about control, efficiency, and fear of consequences. Hitler's regime had no problem using gas when there was no risk of retaliation. But on the battlefield, where the enemy could strike back, everything changed. As the war progressed and Germany's situation worsened, the pressure increased. Some leaders considered using chemical weapons as a last resort. But even in desperation, the fear of Allied retaliation remained too great. In the final months of the war, Germany was collapsing. Cities were being destroyed. Armies were falling apart. Yet even then, chemical weapons were never deployed on a large scale. It wasn't restraint that stopped them. It was the certainty that using them would unleash something even worse. In the end, one of the most brutal regimes in history avoided one of the most brutal weapons, not because they wouldn't use it, but because they couldn't afford to. This is the dark paradox of World War II. A war defined by destruction, where even the most ruthless leaders feared crossing one final line. Follow for more real stories behind history.